All right, we back. We about to get back into the art of war. I think we're on part 4 right now. By our boy Sun Tzu. I was joking with my girl. I was like, I don't know if Sun Tzu is Lao Tzu's brother, or cousin or something. I don't know. But we are gonna jump into this. Just got off work. All right, part 4. Formation. And speaking of formation, we're gonna try to keep this book together because it wants to split. In ancient times, skillful warriors first made themselves invincible and then watched for vulnerability in their opponents. Commentary. Making yourself invincible means knowing yourself. Knowing yourself. Waiting for vulnerability in opponents means knowing others. Invincibility is in oneself. Vulnerability is in the opponent. Therefore, skillful warriors are able to be invincible, but they cannot cause opponents to be vulnerable. That's interesting. So it makes you really hold in the fact that you can't affect someone else's vulnerability, but you can sharpen your own invincibility. Commentary. If opponents have no formation to find out, no gap or slack to take advantage of, how can you overcome them even if you are well equipped? That is why it is said that victory can be discerned but not manufactured. Invincibility is a matter of defense. Vulnerability is a matter of attack. Wow. That's deep. Commentary. As long as you have not seen vulnerable formations in opponents, you hide your own form, preparing yourself in such a way as to be invincible, in order to preserve yourself. When opponents have vulnerable formations, then it is time to go out to attack them. Defense is for times of insufficiency. Attack is for times of surplus. Those skilled in defense hide in the deepest depths of the earth. Those skilled in attack maneuver in the highest heights of the sky. Therefore, they can preserve themselves and achieve complete victory. Commentary. In defense, you hush your voices and obliterate your tracks, hidden as ghosts and spirits beneath the earth, invisible to anyone. On the attack, your movement is swift and your cry shattering, fast as thunder and lightning, as though coming from the sky, impossible to prepare for. I just had a thought too as I'm reading this. This is me really in real time soaking it in. So like if you see me kind of zoning out into it, that's me really trying to digest the info. To perceive victory when it is known to all is not really skillful. Everyone calls victory in battle good, but it is not really good. Wow. Everyone says victory in battle is good, but if you see the subtle and notice the hidden so as to seize victory where there is no form, this is really good. So it says to seize victory where there is no form, this is really good. It does not take much strength to lift a hair. It does not take sharp eyes to see the sun and moon. It does not take sharp ears to hear a thunderclap. Commentary. What everyone knows is not called wisdom. Victory over others by forced battle is not considered good. So they said victory by forced battle. So it's really stressing the power of your strength in attack versus, like they said, things that everyone knows. Which one is it? Everyone calls victory in battle good, but it's not really good. So it's basically like, it's kind of like the standard tropes where you see someone winning, but by default, not by skill, not by something that they've cultivated or really built up, but you could even just say by the rule or just, I don't know. I'm just thinking of like by definition, winning by definition. But here it's saying, or victory by definition. But here it's saying all victory isn't actually good. They're saying it's more up to being skillful rather than pushing someone where there is no form. It took me a minute, but that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to digest it at the same time. So that's a process, you know. That's my sister. Hey. But all right. I'm gonna go back to, what was that last part? Okay, what everyone knows is not called wisdom. Victory over others by forced battle is not considered good. That's very interesting to me, because I think, so I'm gonna draw parallels to that. A lot of things nowadays that you might consider victories for yourself or even others might just be baseline things that by definition are victories, but it's not actually based on skill. So it makes me think to give yourself grace and not beat yourself up for not having certain victories, when not all victories are good. You know, some people could have things that you might want that by definition is a victory, but it wasn't from skill. It wasn't from building or creation or development, or, you know, all these different things that warrant some type of spirit, you know? So give yourself grace when it comes to that. Not all victory is good, you know? In ancient times, those known as good warriors prevailed when it was easy to prevail. If you are only able to ensure victory after engaging an opponent in armed conflict, that victory is a hard one. If you see the subtle and notice the hidden, breaking through before formation, that victory is an easy one. Therefore, the victories of good warriors are not noted for cleverness or bravery. Therefore, their victories in battle are not flukes. Their victories are not flukes because they position themselves where they will surely win, prevailing over those who have already lost. Commentary. Great wisdom is not obvious. Great merit is not advertised. When you see the subtle, it is easy to win. What has it to do with bravery or cleverness? When trouble is solved before it forms, who calls that clever? When there is a victory without battle, who talks about bravery? So that's just what I was kind of saying. It's not, when it's not clever, it doesn't count. The victory doesn't count if it's not clever, if it's not actually brave. And they're saying you can be a good warrior, and that's why some people can fall in this category of good warriors or victorious in certain aspects, but it's not based out of bravery or cleverness or anything that they developed or built, you know? So I love that distinction in there. Great wisdom is not obvious. Great merit is not advertised. When you see the subtle, it is easy to win. What has it to do with bravery or cleverness? When trouble is solved before it forms, who calls that clever? When there is victory without battle, who talks about bravery? Think about that. So it is that good warriors take their stand on ground where they cannot lose, and do not overlook conditions that make an opponent prone to defeat. Therefore, a victorious army first wins and then seeks battle. A defeated army first battles and then seeks victory. Wow, I'm gonna reread that part. So it is that good warriors take their stand on ground where they cannot lose, and do not overlook conditions that make an opponent prone to defeat. They don't overlook any conditions. They stand on ground where they know they cannot lose. Think about that. Therefore, a victorious army first wins and then seeks battle. A victorious army first wins and then seeks battle. A defeated army first battles and then seeks victory. So I'm gonna draw a parallel to this. Hear me out. It's a line I heard in a song. It's a Drake bar. He says, the finish line is where I start at, or something like that. Listen, they say a victorious army first wins and then seeks battle. You start at the finish. It's just like how when they say, you know, when you're trying to create in your mind, or you're trying to see it to believe it, you have to see the end first. This is all saying the same thing. Or I'm seeing that golden thread. Commentary. This is the difference between those with strategy and those without forethought. Damn. Those who use arms well cultivate the way and keep the rules. Thus they can govern in such a way as to prevail over the corrupt. Commentary. Using harmony to hunt down opposition, not attacking a blameless country, not taking captives or booty wherever the army goes, not raising the trees or polluting the wells, washing off the washing off and purifying the shrines of the towns and hills and the countryside you pass through, not repeating the mistakes of the moribund nation that is called the Way and its rules. When the army is strictly disciplined to the point where soldiers would die rather than disobey, rewards and punishments that are trustworthy and just are established. When the military leadership is such that it can achieve this, it can prevail over an opponent's corrupt civil government. The rules of the military are 5: measurement, assessment, calculation, comparison, and victory. Measurement, assessment, calculation, comparison, and victory. Measurement, assessment, calculation, comparison, and victory. Damn, I had to start saying that to myself. The ground gives rise to measurements. Measurements give rise to assessments. Assessments give rise to calculations. Calculations give rise to comparisons. Comparison give rise to victory. Commentary. By the comparisons of measurements, you know where victory and defeat lie. Wow, by the comparisons of measurements, you know where victory and defeat lie. Therefore, a victorious army is like a pound compared to a gram. A defeated army is like a gram compared to a pound. So they're just saying, like, they just weigh it up. They literally say, yo, we measure it up, we calculate it beforehand, we weigh it up, and we know what it is. When the victorious get their people to go battle as if they were directing a massive flood of water into a deep canyon, this is a matter of formation. When water accumulates in a deep canyon, no one can measure its amount, just as our defense shows no form. When the water is released, it rushes down in a torrent, just as our attack is irresistible. Wow. And that was part 4 of Sun Tzu's The Art of War, translated by Thomas Cleary, and then read and then further translated by Rashad Sketches, you know. So stay tuned with me. We're gonna read this book together, and stay tuned for the next part 5, chapter 5 is called Force, and I'm gonna make a playlist with these videos, so check me out. Peace. Take a little bit now.